the person to account for something until that person has had a true warning, true warner. But I will say this, that the Quran does not so much deal with these sort of gray cases. It deals with real, practical cases. Because when the Quran approaches the reader, if he's gotten to that stage where he's approaching the Quran, he's ready for the message of that revelation. And once that revelation starts calling to him, it presents things in very stark terms. And the message seems to be essentially this. If you're a good person and you refuse to have a relationship with God, you refuse to even acknowledge God, you refuse to have anything to do with the idea of God, I think generally that person is in a lot of trouble. And the reason why I say this, I'll give you an analogy, because that person is not cultivating the most important relationship in his life. We are here to come to know and grow nearer to God. That person might be a fine human being. He might be a great humanitarian. He might be making himself feel very good inside by everything he does. He might be getting a lot of peace and well-being for it. But the only real relationship that matters, really, in that person's life is not being developed at all. God's love is there for him to turn to. But if he doesn't turn to it, he's never going to receive it. Because love is a two-way street. God's love and mercy is there to shower on all, but you have to enter into that loving relationship with God. You have to turn to him in love. Let me give you the following example. Let's say I have 3 daughters, hypothetically. And let's say one of them, for some reason or another, chooses not to acknowledge that I exist. To such an extent that she never even knows that I exist. Never even cares whether I exist. Never does anything to even observe the fact that I exist. And so no matter how much love I shower in that daughter's direction, no matter how much mercy I pour on that daughter, no matter how many gifts I bestow on that child, and no matter how good he is or she is to all the other people on this earth, that daughter will never experience my parental love. That daughter will never know my parental mercy and caring. Will never develop a relationship to receive that and experience that. So it'll go throughout life having totally missed that. I see the situation of an atheist who does good deeds towards others and is a great humanitarian in a similar light. No, I am not God to judge that person's ultimate fate. But frankly, if it was my friend and they raised this question with me, I would say that you have something very serious to consider. And I don't have much hope for such a person. You know, life is full of choices. Nobody simply is born to disbelieve in God. Disbelieve in God is a choice, and it is made at a point in a person's life. And we're responsible for the choices we make. And believe me, as an atheist, I'll tell you this. I'm not an atheist anymore, but I was for many years. You were presented many opportunities to think about God. I'll give you one last example. I had a friend, an atheist, a very good friend, still a very good friend, colleague as a matter of fact. Came down with cancer, pancreas cancer. They said the cancer was as big as a football almost. The doctors gave her no hope. Went to the hospital. Called from the hospital. Said, I don't know what to do. Would you pray for me? I said, I can't pray for you. I said, of course I could pray for you. But I said, what's the point of me praying for you if you don't pray for you? Nobody could do anything for you unless you want to have it done yourself. Like an alcoholic that has to give up drinking. I can't do it for you. You got to turn yourself. In any case, I don't know what happened, but she said that if I ever get cured from this disease, I will definitely, strongly consider that religion that you adhere to. Lo and behold, they performed the operation, and she's alive today. Now, I'm not saying it was because of that statement of hers. God's mercy encompasses all things, and he does what he wills according to his design. I'm not trying to presume that I know why things turned out the way they did. But I do know this, that today, when I talk about my religion, she mocks it. When I talk about my religion, she says, I don't believe in that. The point is that she has already gone back on her promise to God. She was given the opportunity and the choice, and now she rejects it. And believe me, aside from her obstinate and rebellious rejection of God, she's a nice person to people. She helps neighbors, gives gifts to friends, etc. And she's miserable. And she's miserable because there's something empty and missing in her life. But she was given that choice. And I know, as an atheist, you're given many. God makes them come to you. And so having lived that life, I don't see where many people have an excuse. We have a brain to think with. God gave us hearing, sight, and senses to perceive with. He gave us minds to utilize. And He gives us opportunities to learn. And we either reject them or take them. We're a creature of choice. I got too long into that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, the next question says, what do you say to an atheist when she asks who created God?
I say, no one. No, it's obvious. I just tell them that one of the attributes of God is He is the Creator. If you don't want to accept that, that's up to you. If you don't want to believe that there is a Creator. But we believe that God is the Creator. There's some things that are silly to argue about. Who created God? One of the attributes of God is the Creator. Obviously, from our religious point of view, He's not created. And that's it. There's nothing to argue. There's sometimes you just have points of difference. I know how the argument usually goes. You say God is the creator of all things. That's why I say it's silly to say that, try to prove to somebody there's a God by saying, well, who created all this? Because then he'll say, well, who created God? That argument simply will not work with an atheist. They've already rejected the idea of a creator. And so you're getting yourself into pointless arguments. You need to know the mindset of the person you're arguing with. But remember this. At some stage in every atheist's life, that person consciously rejects belief in God. And so when you present your belief in God, they're going to give you rational objections to that belief. Attack the rational objections. Don't try to come at them with a proof. Okay? I'm tired. You guys wore me out.